The NFC West has just gotten really interesting because the Cardinals are 5-2, the Seahawks are 5-1, the 49ers are 4-3, the Rams are 4-2 after tonight. They might be 5-2 or 4-3. The game is going on as we're speaking right now. That being said, can the Cardinals win the NFC West? And do you think that they will?
I think they can. I think that anything can happen in that NFC West. I think it's the anti-NFC East where all four of those teams are so good that any of them could turn it on at any time and finish the season undefeated realistically and be the team to win that division. I don't think they're going to for that same reason, and I don't think that they are at the level at those other three teams right now. Like when you look at the Seahawks, the Rams, and the 49ers, they've been successful the past few years, and the Cardinals have not had that. The Cardinals are just getting to that point. Same thing with Kyler Murray. He's been a little bit on and off this year, and they need him to be on if they want to compete. You look at last night, he wasn't great to start the football game, but when he settled in and started getting that offense moving, they looked like a totally different team in the second half. And they need him to be consistent all year long if they want to be that team at the top of the NFC West. There's not going to be any cupcakes. They're not getting a pass in their division because every week is going to be a challenge whenever they see a division opponent. And they need that consistency that they haven't had yet this year. They can do it, and I think that Cliff Kingsbury is a very good head coach. I think he will have their ducks in a row. I think they're going to be a playoff team. We both predicted that to start the season, but I don't know if they can compete for that division title yet.
I think it's extremely close, and outside of the Rams, the Cardinals are the most complete team in that division.
Especially with the injuries to the 49ers.
Yeah, but even with the 49ers, I mean, you see Nick Bosa, he's hurt. But then outside of that, who's really hurt for the 49ers? They got Debo back, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle back. They got their guys back, except for Bosa because he's out for the year. But the Cardinals, I mean, they're 10th in defense, and they're 9th in offense. So they have a top 10 offense and defense in terms of points scored and allowed. And when I look at, okay, yes, the Rams have a more complete team in my opinion. But when you look outside of Russell Wilson, when you look at the quarterbacks, Jared Goff, Kyler Murray, Jimmy G, Kyler is the best one out of the other two.
I think he's the biggest difference maker other than Russell Wilson in that division.
Yeah, for certain, because he can run the ball. He's electric. Kyler Murray is electric, and his passing numbers aren't crazy. You know, you look at his touchdown to interception ratio, you're like, oh, this isn't jumping out the paper, but he's an elite runner of the football. I mean, last year, he ran for 544 yards and 4 touchdowns. That was in 16 games. This season, he's already over 400 yards rushing and 7 touchdowns. So we might see another Lamar Jackson-esque season, not in terms of MVP, but in terms of throwing for 3,000 yards and rushing for 1,000 yards. Like when was the last time that happened in back-to-back seasons where two different quarterbacks have passed for 3,000 and rushed for 3,000? This might be the first time in history.
Is it outrageous to say he's Lamar Jackson light?
Lamar Jackson light? I mean, I don't know. You know, I think Lamar Jackson is more of a physical player.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Kyler can take the hits that Lamar can take.
But I think that a lot of his success in the passing attack comes from the fact that he is such a great runner, which I think is what has made Lamar an elite quarterback. You know, I think that a lot of people knock him for not being able to throw the football, which is just wrong. It's just that him being able to throw the football is aided a lot by the fact that the defense opens up because he is such an elite runner, which I don't think he should be docked points for when we discuss that.
But Kyler Murray is a great passer. The criticism on him is that he's short, so his passes get batted sometimes, but he's a great and accurate passer. The thing with me is that it's not just when looking at Kyler, it's just looking at this defense as a whole. They lost Chandler Jones, and that's going to be a huge loss, but Vance Joseph is a great defensive coordinator, and the guys that they have, Budda Baker, he's a star. Byron Murphy, he's a star. He was the one that blitzed and got the pressure on Russell Wilson late in overtime. And then people don't talk about this player enough, but Devondre Campbell, they picked him up from Atlanta. He is the reason that Isaiah Simmons is not starting. Devondre Campbell is extremely good at covering players, and he's just a good linebacker. He fits their scheme so well, and that's why I think Arizona is the most complete team. Like I said, I mean, I had the Rams winning the division just because I think they're the most complete team. After tonight, I'm going to see where my prediction stands because if they beat Chicago, then I'll feel even more confident about that pick. But if they lose tonight, I can easily see Arizona winning the division. I mean, their next games are Miami, Buffalo, Seattle, Patriots, the Rams, the Giants, the Eagles, the 49ers, and the Rams. The only gimme game I see there is the Giants. So every other game is going to be it's going to be a dogfight. So whether they're up for the challenge or not is going to be we're going to have to see. But I think the division winner, they don't win by more than a 1 or 2 game lead at most. It's going to be a really close race to end off the year.
Yeah, that division, you might as well throw darts because I feel like nobody's going to be able to accurately predict that division. You know, we could sit here and make our guesses, but your guess is just as good as mine. I don't think there's any damning evidence against any of the teams that they aren't going to be a very good team at the end of the season. I think the only thing that can make that happen is injuries. And you look at the 49ers, they dealt with some pretty bad injuries to start the year, and they're still right there 4-3 in the race.
Yep.
And like you mentioned, all these schedules are going to be tough because a majority of the games are going to be played against each other. So there's no you look at a team like the Bills, they get the luxury of playing the Jets 2 times a year. And honestly, the Patriots, who have been off key, and the Dolphins, who realistically aren't there yet as competitors. I think they're trending in the right direction, but they should have no problem beating the Dolphins. The NFC West doesn't get that cushion, so it's going to be very tough. They're going to be beating up on each other, and I think that the most resilient team is going to win the division. The problem is there's nothing to show us who that can be. It's not like any of these 4 teams has a huge advantage in the head coaching situation. All of them have really good head coaches. All of them have solid leadership. It's not like there's one team that is a pretender. I think all 4 of those teams are legit playoff teams.